All right, I want to play something. This is a Bud Light distributor, and he's talking about the sales of Budweiser. Listen to this, cut one.
I work for an affiliate company. I am a merchandiser, and the sole product of the company I work for is Anheuser-Busch products. So with all this canceling going on, I've never seen such little sales in this past few days on these products. And it's sad because when people don't buy this beer, I don't make money and I can't feed my family. So it's kind of heartbreaking, I guess, that Anheuser-Busch did what they did. They don't know their clientele. So it's kind of heartbreaking. Thanks, Anheuser-Busch. I may not be able to feed my family coming up here soon.
Okay, this is something that I think you really need to be aware of. These, like, for instance, Coke, and I learned this from a former executive at Coke. These soda and beer companies, beverage companies, they don't really care about you because they're not connected to you. It is the local bottling companies and distributors that make all of the difference. You start making their distributors uncomfortable. These are people that live in the community. Like that guy. What was he saying? He's working for Budweiser. I mean, he's distributing it. He's putting it all on the shelves. He's the guy that has to get it to the local stores, and he's dying. So that's going to go back up the chain. Believe me, when Coca Cola distributors or Pepsi distributors or the distributors of Anheuser-Busch, when they get pressure in their local community, when you as a business call them and say, you know what, I don't think I want your stuff anymore. You tell Anheuser-Busch, this is crazy. I don't want it. You tell Coca Cola, I don't want their garbage anymore. They don't know who the customer is. I'm out here in the country. I know who the customers are. And they're not white racists, Coca Cola. And Bud Light, they're not for transgender issues being pushed into everybody's faces. And certainly, they're not for transgender issues being pushed onto our children in schools. So, no thank you, Anheuser-Busch. You begin to say that to the local distributors, and they're easy to find. If you begin to say that, and you reach out as a friend of the local, because he's probably on your side. They're probably cut from the same cloth because they live in your community, depending on what community you live in. They live in your community, so they probably reflect a lot of your values. So you can call them up and go, dude, what are you doing? I can't support you anymore. I want to. I know that your family doesn't eat, but I can't do it because my customers don't want it. And I have to draw the line in the sand. So you need to tell Anheuser-Busch in no uncertain terms, enough is enough. If we connected smartly, we would be able to conquer these guys. Because right now, they don't care. You know, here's another thing. When you look at the activists on the left, they're in these people's offices. They're in their faces. They're holding meetings with people. So, and I don't know if you saw the letter that they put to the insurance companies, but they are putting the screws to the insurance companies right now. And they're saying, we will report you to the government. We'll report you to all of the activist groups. We will make sure that your name is mud if you don't stop insuring oil drilling. And you have until this date this summer to let us know where you stand. It is a terroristic threat. It's the closest thing to a terroristic threat I've ever seen in business in America. It is ruthless. Well, they have those people in their office. Who's on our side in their office? Who's meeting with these people at the national level? They're only seeing one side. We have to be smarter in what we're doing. And the place to begin is the local distribution and bottling companies that are schlepping this stuff. Because as long as the local bottling companies are fine, they're not going to say anything. But you start messing with that, you start turning the corner with the people who are actually on the street delivering the beer and the soda, that gets the attention of the big boys. And I think you can win with Budweiser. You just have to play it smarter. Look, we are going to talk about this and the transgender nonsense tonight on my Wednesday night special on BlazeTV. We have to take a look at the next step of the fundamental transformation of America. ESG was designed as a leverage point to force private businesses into compliance and partnership with the government. Red states are pushing back on the E, but not so much on the S and the G. The E for energy. But just like Republicans always do, when it comes to you, they drop the ball. And that's the S and the G, social and governance. They are just as important. A top-down wave of violence has been hitting the streets lately to enforce E, S, and G. Have you noticed that? Remember, we told you when it would come, it would be top-down, bottom-up, inside-out. What does that mean? This is a old strategy from communists back during the Soviet Union. The way to flip countries is to go in, infiltrate everything. Would you agree that this has infiltrated everything? Business, education, media, government, everything. So they would infiltrate and they would make sure that they had people in government in high places positioned for the next phase. So what they would do is they would, after they have everybody in position, they send these, well, in this case, they're sending the people who are very upset about trans rights. And the top whips them up into a frenzy. Like, for instance, Nancy Pelosi, yesterday or the day before, giving a speech in San Francisco and saying trans people and trans children are under threat. They're coming for you. Well, I don't know anybody who is like, we got to get the trans people. I don't know anybody who's saying that. I do know people who say they want this to end with their children, and they would like this to end with this lie that this is a normal and this much of the population. Listen to this from a TikTok user. There's no labels or restrictions on this guy. Listen to this.
Y'all really want to try to say there aren't trans kids? Let me tell you what there aren't. There aren't cis kids. Okay, you telling your child, oh, you're a boy, you're a girl. This is a child. This is a free spirit that has not learned any of that bullshit until you force it on them. So cisness is the wound. Cisness is the delusion. Cisness is the lie. Cisness is the place of pain. Transness is the healing. Transness is the growth. Transness is the truth. Transness is what we actually are. We are fluid. We are 70% water. We are God. God is change. God is trans. We are trans. You are forcing your kids to be boys and girls. We're saying, be whatever you are, baby. Be free, be water, be light, be sky, be God, because guess what? That's what we actually are. What we actually are is trans, is change, is love. We're not the ones doing the forcing. And see God chiming just on time.
Good God, that guy is not mostly made of water. He's mostly made of bull. Holy cow. Okay, so this is the lie. We have gone from a society that says, hey, be cool with Caitlyn Jenner. And I don't know anybody who wasn't. Once they started to say, you have to say he's beautiful as a woman, I think that's where people are like, okay, well, I'm not going to be mean to Caitlyn Jenner, but I'm also not going to lie. It's a bad-looking woman, okay? Maybe a good-looking dude, but not a good-looking woman. That's where it started. And we had actual compassion. And then we were introduced to words like cisgender. Remember? It wasn't long ago before we were all saying, what does cis mean? What is that? Just another made-up word. They are erasing truth. And look how far it is. Now we're all fluid. Now we're all water. We are God. How terrifying. This should chill you to the bone as Americans. That we are God. And we are fluid. And it's your cisness that is the wound. You inflict that on children. Where are the medical studies? Where are any medical studies that back any of this up? There aren't any. Anything that they're using is so flawed. Sweden and France are running from it, saying this is extraordinarily dangerous. What are we doing? The reason why all of this is happening, the violence, Riley Gaines is going to be on the program tonight. Wait till you hear our conversation. What happened to her was not about her. It was about you. It's an invisible hand manipulating American businesses. And I say invisible because it's gone mainly unnoticed. I mean, until Bud Light decided to make a dude dressed up as a woman as one of their brand ambassadors. But this is what ESG does. This is a top-down. The guys who are now in control are signaling to their street thugs, the brown shirts, go ahead, do what you want. Stir it up. We got your back. We're not going to prosecute. You go ahead. Until it gets so bad that you will cry out. How do we replace all of the cops in our country that have retired or gone away? No recruits. How are you going to do that? Well, you're not going to have anything locally because the locals won't be able to handle it. Everything breaks down. Locals won't be able to handle it. Don't worry. The federal government can assist. This is a communist storyline that happens the same way every time. You just have to get past your fear because that's what they want you to feel is fear. If you don't have any fear because you're fighting for your kids and your grandkids, and you're like, I'm not having my kids grow up in a world like this where they are slaves, where they are punished if they think for themselves, if they disagree. Don't talk to me about book burning. You guys are the ones rewriting the books well after people are dead. You're just not book burning. You're just changing the meaning of them. You're on the right side. Have no fear. Don't miss tonight our Wednesday night special at 9 p.m. only on BlazeTV at 9:30 Eastern on YouTube channel. My YouTube channel, it's youtube.com/Glenn Beck. It is Exposed, the secret behind the trans activist army. You don't want to miss it tonight at 9 on BlazeTV.